So the last game for the All Blacks in their group stage is just around the corner, and the last game for Uruguay in general of their Rugby World Cup 2023 campaign. It's been one with ups and downs, mainly ups for Uruguay though. They have been a very impressive side throughout this competition, and for the ABs this is about getting a big win, continuing that momentum that they created last week in their game up against the Italians. But in this preview we will be looking through at the lineup selected, the key players to watch out for alongside previous fixtures, and a prediction at the end for who we think will win this game. So the ABs, they made quite a few changes to their starting lineup, as was expected, seeing as they have got the quarterfinals just around the corner if they walk away with a victory here. In the front row it is Ofa Tuangafasi, Cody Taylor, and also Tyrell Lomax. So Lomax's first start since his knee injury up against the Springboks in the Rugby World Cup warm-up games. In the lock-in duo, they have gone with Sam Whitelock at number 4, and this will be his 150th cap for the All Blacks, so a massive achievement for him playing 4. In this match, number 5, they've gone with Tupavai, a man who hasn't had a huge amount of game time in the recent weeks of the Rugby World Cup. We did see him in that game up against the Italians, actually starting at number 6. He has also come off the bench. In the loose forward trio, Shannon Brazil at number 6. Number 7, they have gone with Sam Cane, the captain. This will be his first start since his injury, which is of course the same boat as Tyrell Lomax. And then number 8, it is Luke Jacobson. And that is rather than Adi Savia, who's been completely rested for this game. He is nice and fresh for the quarterfinals. In the backline, number 9, Cam Roygaard, with number 10 being Richie Mo'unga. So a new combination that the All Blacks have not tried as of yet throughout this World Cup. But Roygaard's in form, Mo'unga's in form. So theoretically, it should work. It should be fast-paced for the All Blacks with the backline that they have selected in this contest. Lester Whainga-Anuku, he will get himself the start out on the left wing. In the midfield, Geordie Barrett at number 12 and number 13. They have gone Anton Leonard-Brown. So quite a bit of power coming from the AB's midfield in this contest. Number 14, it is Will Jordan. And then number 15, rather than Beauden Barrett, they have gone with Damian McKenzie. So having Mo'unga and McKenzie on the field at the same time, the two men who started at 10 for their respective sides in the Super Rugby Pacific final. Now looking through at the Uruguay side, they have made a few changes along the way, but keeping a relatively solid foundation of the players who have played throughout this Rugby World Cup. And there have been quite a few standouts for Uruguay in this competition. In the front row, it is Matteo Sanguinetti, number 2, Germain Kessler, and number 3, Diego Arbello. In the lock-in duo, it is Inacio Dotti at number 4, and then number 5, Manuel Lendeja. In the loose forward trio, Manuel Ardo at number 6. He has had a very good Rugby World Cup thus far. Number 7, it is Lucas Bianchi. And then number 8, they have gone with Manuel Diana. So a little bit of a change in the loose forward trio for Uruguay, but keeping Ardo at 6, who will be looking forward for the first time ever to take on the All Blacks. At number 9, they have stuck with Santiago Arata, with number 10 being Felipe Echeverri. Out on the left wing, Nicolas Freitas. And then in the midfield, the captain, Andres Falaseca at number 12. And then number 13, Thomas Inciarte. Number 14, Gaston Mieres. And then number 15, Rodrigo Silva. So a couple changes in that Uruguayan 15, but still the foundation that they have had throughout their other games. Now looking through at the key players for New Zealand. I know there have been a lot of changes in this 4-pack for the All Blacks throughout this game. Sam Whitelock, I feel he will have a big game, seeing as it is his 150th. But I would say that Shannon Brazil at 6 is going to be one of the keys for the All Blacks here, mainly because of what he's been able to do before his injury. He's a very physical player, running over defenders, and also offers a lot when it comes to that AB's defence. In the back line for the All Blacks, McKenzie at 15 will be an intriguing one, seeing as they have gone with Beauden Barrett all throughout the rest of this Rugby World Cup. They have still got Barrett off the bench, but if McKenzie can do well at 15 here, perhaps that puts a little bit of doubt in the coach's mind as we head towards those quarterfinals. For the Uruguayans, I would say Manuel Ardo. I mentioned about how he's had quite a few minutes throughout this Rugby World Cup already, looking like he will match up with Shannon Brazil pretty nicely, and I'm looking forward to seeing those two butt heads throughout any opportunity they get in this Rugby World Cup match. I believe Shannon Brazil at the end of the day will get the advantage over Ardo, but I still think it's going to be very entertaining with those two out there on the park. In the back line, there's actually quite a few players we could pick. Felipe Echeverri at the moment has been playing some very good rugby. Out on the wing, Nicolas Freitas, I would probably edge it towards him, seeing as we have seen him score throughout this Rugby World Cup already, and he does look like he's got that ability to be able to consistently score tries. So So that is why I would go with him for Uruguay. But looking through at previous fixtures, first of all, for the All Blacks, they opened up this Rugby World Cup campaign in a way they didn't really want to, and that was with a loss to the French, 27 points to 13. They did seem flat in that game. Handling errors and penalties were the two main talking points, but I feel as this World Cup has progressed, the All Blacks have slowly been getting those two things slightly more right. In their game up against Namibia, they did win at 71 points to 3, and then that takes us to what happened last week for the New Zealanders, 96 points to 17 over Italy. Definitely a much larger scoreline than a lot of people were anticipating. For that game, I thought the All Blacks would win it by 25, as I thought Italy coming into this game had a couple decent performances, but it just seemed to be all different. In that last match, New Zealand were clinical, they were finding space, they were breaking through defenders, scoring tries for fun, and Italy definitely on the back foot. Then for Uruguay, their first game was up against France. They did have a bye at the start of this Rugby World Cup. They did lose 27 points to 12, so actually only losing by one more point than the All Blacks did. Quite a different looking French side, but still quite a few regular players in there. And Uruguay, they just played extremely well. They were in the contest for about 50 minutes, then started to dwindle as the match did wear on. Their next game was up against the Italians. They did lose at 38 points to 17, so they were sitting at that point, 2 losses from 2. Then they had their game up against Namibia, winning at 36 points to 26. A very nice win for them, and the confidence booster, which will now give them that little bit of hope that perhaps there could be an upset coming just around the corner. Now we are up to that stage of the video though, where we do try and predict the score for New Zealand versus Uruguay. Now after that last performance for the All Blacks, you'd have to say anything under 50 points, maybe even under 70, would be not quite the performance that the All Blacks are after. But we can't underestimate what Uruguay have been able to do over the last few weeks of this Rugby World Cup campaign. I still think it will be a similar scoreline to what we saw between New Zealand and Namibia, with the exception of Uruguay scoring themselves a few more points. So I am going to say New Zealand win this game 62 low. 78. Oh, that's harsh, actually, yeah. 68 points to 12 in favour of the All Blacks. We will go with that. I don't think that will be a mile off, but then there's also a chance that Uruguay can get it a little bit closer. Maybe Uruguay have the performance that Italy needed in the last game, and this could be split by around 30 or 40 points, which for me would be a massive win for Uruguay, just being able stop the ABs from scoring freely. But then there's also the chance that the ABs, they really ramp it up, look to get close to the 100. We're going to do what we did last week, seeing as you guys did seem to quite enjoy it. I'm going to go find my mum.
My prediction is All Blacks 90, Uruguay 10. Good to see Mackenzie there. Oh, Lester Whānuku, that's good, eh? But why have we got bloody Barrett in the reserves? I mean, who does he cover? Is David Havili there or not? Oh, well, anyway. But that's my prediction. We're going to ram it home again. And, yeah, roll on the quarterfinals, eh?
There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. My mum picking the ABs to win by 80 points over Uruguay. Wasn't too happy with Barrett off the bench, but we will have to wait to see what kind of impact that man can have. But thank you all very much for tuning in. We will be live on the channel doing the commentary throughout the game, so be sure to check that out. Thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all for the next one.